Hello, folks. You got J.GREENIE here broadcasting live from our studios here in Texas. Got a lot of exciting topics coming out this week, and I got to tell you, we got a lot of things we got to talk about. Not only are there many weather manipulation tricks going on out in the community today, but we got a whole nother world that's coming together right now before our very own eyes. We've just got to wake up to it, and I'll tell you that I'm not going to tell you anything that Google ain't going to tell you, and I'll never tell you that something that isn't right. But what I will tell you is that something happening very soon is coming to America, and you need to get ready for it. The United Nations Security Council has produced dozens of regular trade and economic sanctions, but North Korea hasn't budged even an inch. As United States President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un hurl threats at each other, it's not impossible to expect that the prolonged crisis on the Korean Peninsula will trigger a military conflict or war. This scenario brings in focus the state and competency of the North Korean Army, Air Force, and the overall capacity of the country to wage a war against us. North Korean military on paper seems an impressive force, but is the reality so? In this video, Defense Updates analyzes the capabilities of North Korean military and provides 5 reasons why it won't last even a few weeks in a war with the United States. Let's get started. North Korean Navy has about 810 vessels, which in theory could seem a threat, but in practice is no more than a nuisance. While their quantity is great, their quality isn't, as they represent decades-old engineering and design concepts. North Korean Navy is considered a brown water navy and operates mainly within a 50-kilometer exclusion zone. It has no aircraft carriers or destroyers. It has only 3 frigates, which are no match to the advanced U.S. surface combatants. A large percentage of their fleet is made up of small patrol vessels. North Korean military is in possession of about 70 submarines, comprised of approximately 20 Romero-class submarines, 40 Sangho-class submarines, 300 tons, and 10 Oyono-class submarines, 130 tons. All of these submarines use diesel-electric propulsion and were designed in the 50s or 60s. They can only operate within 30 miles of the North Korean coast. These are also much louder compared to modern submarines and will easily be detected by U.S. submarines and the P-8 Poseidon, which U.S. will definitely deploy in the event of a conflict. The U.S. will be able to neutralize these easily and enforce a naval blockade. In any modern-day combat, air superiority is one of the most important factors deciding the outcome of the war. On paper, North Korean Air Force possesses more than 500 compact capable aircrafts, but almost all of them are third-generation and fourth-generation ones. The MiG-29, the KPAF's most modern fighter, and North Korea operates approximately only 40 of these fighters. The whole air fleet has loads of service issues and maintenance issues, as they are at the last leg of their service life and are grounded most of the times. Combat availability of the Air Force is really only less than 50%. The air-to-air missiles equipping fighters are also far older in technology compared to what the U.S. possesses. F-22 and F-35 are a generation ahead of MiG-29 and are stealthy. In this scenario, the North Korean pilots will find it very difficult to detect and target them. The U.S., with far sophisticated fighters, coupled with way better pilot training and strategy, is expected to quickly get air superiority over North Korea's skies. North Korea has more than 1.2 million active soldiers and a further 7.7 million in reserve, making its ground force one of the largest in the world. Its troops are bolstered by 200,000 special ops soldiers, but the troops are mostly ill-equipped with outdated weapons of the Soviet era. The country's conventional forces, facing a long slide after the end of the Cold War, have faced equipped and obsolescence and supply shortages. For example, North Korea has very few tanks based on the 1970s Soviet T-72, and most are still derivatives of the 1960 era T-62s. The rest of Pyongyang's Army Corps is in a similar predicament, making them distinctively inferior to U.S. and even South Korean forces. Sustaining a war effort requires massive reserves, not only in men, but also in material. Napoleon is known to have said, "An army marches on its stomach." Not only will the relatively poor inventory of ammunition dwindle down in only a few weeks, but also will the food supply. When these two basic items in short supply, the North Korean forces will not be able to continue fighting for long periods of time. It is also foreseen by many experts that as the war turns against North Korea, many will start distorting the repressive regime, hastening the process of capitulation. North Korea is cut off from the world and basically has almost no allies. China has traditionally been North Korea's closest ally, but has condemned the latest ICBM test as unacceptable. North Korea has historically enjoyed strong links with China, its neighbor to the north and to the west. But since Kim took power in 2011, the relationship has cooled, and Beijing has repeatedly asked Pyongyang to cease its nuclear test and ballistic missile launches in vain. Russia has also played it safe in the Korean front. In a joint statement, President Xi Jinping vowed to work with Russian President Vladimir Putin on diplomatic approaches to the Korean problem. And if a conflict breaks out between North Korea, it has no chance of getting direct or indirect military conflict from any other country. Unlike North, the U.S. will have the direct support from South Korea and Japan. North Korea invests a huge proportion of its meager economy into its military, and its ambitious missile, nuclear, and cyber programs have caused widespread international alarm. Pyongyang spent nearly a quarter of its GDP on the military over the past decade, according to U.S. government estimates. Being isolated from the rest of the world, it has failed to acquire modern technology, and as discussed in the video, its armed forces remain technologically handicapped. Strategically, North Korea doesn't have the required technology or resources to wage a war for more than a few days, especially when it's against the most powerful nation in the world. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve greatly. We'll see you later. Jeremy Green, Defender of the Republic.